Hello everyone, we are in Puerto Penasco, more commonly known as Rocky Point, Mexico today. Let's just take a few moments here, sit in a comfortable seated position, close your eyes, and take a few deep breaths. We're going to come into a wide-kneed child's pose to start. So go ahead and have your knees wide, your feet touching. Stretch your arms out in front of you. And just relax into this pose. In Yin Yoga, we have a more mindful practice. So we're going to hold these poses for 5 minutes. So we do this to get into the connective tissue of our bodies, such as joints, fascia, ligaments. And our main focus is mostly in the lower back, the hip joints, and the pelvis. We tend to sit in chairs most of the day, and this has the effect of limiting our natural range of motion in these areas. Practicing Yin regularly will strengthen and stretch your connective tissue to bring back the natural movements of the body. So I'll ask you to go to your soft edge in each of these poses. You should be uncomfortable, but not in pain. So if you have any sharp shooting pain or numbness, please back out of the pose. Remember to listen to your body. Modify your poses if needed. Use props to support your body and to allow the muscles to relax. You can substitute a pose if the one we're doing is not working for your body. So I'm going to talk for the first few minutes of each of these poses, and then the remaining time will be for you to meditate. So today I will be talking about the breath. Okay, let's come on to all fours for a moment. Roll your hips around. Maybe do some cat-cows. Listen to your body when you're doing these poses and when you come out of them. We're going to come into a Dragonfly Pose. So with this pose, I would highly recommend sitting on the edge of a blanket to help you rotate your pelvis forward. I'm on the beach, so I don't have my props with me today. But it definitely helps to sit up on a blanket to make yourself lean forward that much easier. Now, if you have no back problems, go ahead and round your back and let gravity take you down. I have sciatic problems, so if you have back pain like I do, it's best to keep your back as straight as possible. So you can maybe lean on a bolster, blocks, whatever would make you more comfortable to release your upper body forward in this pose. And if your hamstrings are really tight, you can also put blankets or blocks under your knees to help relieve that. For breath is life, and if you breathe well, you will live long on earth. Sanskrit proverb. Breath is essential to life. It is the first thing we do when we are born, and the last thing we do when we leave. In between that time, we take about 500 million breaths. What we may not realize is that the mind, body, and breath are intimately connected and can influence each other. Our breathing is influenced by our thoughts, and our thoughts and physiology can be influenced by our breath. Learning to breathe consciously and with awareness is the fourth limb of yoga, and it can be a valuable tool in helping to restore balance in the mind and body. Researchers have documented benefits of a regular practice of simple deep breathing. They include reduced anxiety and depression, lower stabilized blood pressure, increased energy levels, muscle relaxation, decreased feelings of stress and overwhelm. In the medical community, there's a growing appreciation for the positive impact that deep breathing can have on the physiology, both the mind and the body. According to the research, many of these beneficial effects can be attributed to reducing the stress response in the body. With your hands, go ahead and push yourself up to seated. Bringing your legs in. Do some windshield wipers to stretch out your hips. Then we're going to come into a seated position for a moment. We are going to do complete belly breath. So with one hand on your belly, relax your abdominal muscles and slowly inhale through your nose, bringing air into the bottom of your lungs. You should feel your abdominal muscles rise. This expands the lower parts of the lungs. Continue to inhale as your rib cage expands outward, and finally the collarbone rise. At the peak of the inhalation, pause for a moment and then gently exhale from the top of your lungs to the bottom. At the end of the exhalation, contract your abdominal muscles slightly to push residual air out of the bottom of your lungs. Let's repeat this for about 5 breaths. Now let's go ahead and come back to our natural breath. Then we're going to come into sleeping swan on the left side. So down dog might be an easier position to get this into for you. So go ahead and bring that left leg forward. Stretch that right leg back. Go ahead and lift your chest up in order to stretch out. Then lean forward. You may find it more comfortable to have a bolster lengthwise for you to put your head and wrap your arms around, or a blanket. Whatever works for you, this is your practice. You do want to feel this in the left hip and the right hip flexor. So go ahead and breathe and relax into these muscles. Let's mindfully push yourself up, stretch your leg back, come into all fours for a moment. Do whatever movements feel good to you. We're going to take another seated position. The next breathing technique I'd like to show you is alternate nostril breathing. So when you're feeling anxious or ungrounded, practice the alternate nostril breathing, and this will immediately help you feel calmer. So we're going to hold your right thumb over your right nostril and inhale deeply through your left nostril. At the peak of your inhalation, close off your left nostril with your fourth finger. Lift your right thumb, and then exhale smoothly through your right nostril. After a full exhalation, inhale through the right nostril, closing it off with your right thumb at the peak of your inhalation. Lift your fourth finger and exhale smoothly through your left nostril. Continue with this, alternating your breathing through each nostril. Your breath should be effortless, with your mind gently observing the inflow and outflow of breath. Now let's come back to our natural breath. And then we're going to come into sleeping swan on the right-hand side. And just remember, most of us are uneven, so this side may feel differently than the other. This is my tighter side. So go ahead and reach out in front of you. Whatever props you used for the other side, use here as well. Breathe and relax. Let's come on to all fours. Make sure you're very mindful coming out of these poses. You will feel very stiff if you're doing it right when you come out. Maybe do an up dog, hip circles, cat cows. Just be gentle with your body. There's no need to push too hard. I'm going to show you one more breathing technique. This one's called Ocean's Breath. So when you feel angry, irritated, or frustrated, this is a cooling breath and it'll help you soothe and settle your mind. It's also known as Ujjayi breath or victorious breath. So if you do practice a more yang yoga practice, you may already do this. But it's good to do even if you're not practicing yoga. So what you'll do is you'll take an inhalation that is slightly deeper than normal. With your mouth closed, exhale through your nose while constricting your throat muscles. If you are doing this correctly, you should sound like waves on the ocean. Another way to get the hang of this practice is to try exhaling the word ha with your mouth open. Now make a similar sound with your mouth closed, feeling the outflow of breath through your nasal passages. Once you have mastered this on the outflow, use the same method for the inflow breath, gently constricting your throat as you inhale. Now let's come back to our natural breath. We're going to come into a deer pose. So the easiest way to come into this is having your hips wide as your mat and just kind of flopping them over to the left side. So you can look at my legs here. So the left foot is on top of the right knee. Now if one of your hips is not squarely on the ground, you can put a blanket underneath. You can feel this pose if you just sit straight up. So if you're feeling it in your hips, then go ahead and sit straight up. If you feel like you can go further, you can go ahead and lean forward. Just make sure that you are feeling this so this will be the right hip. It's an internal rotation, so it might feel very awkward for that hip. And the left hip, you won't feel it as much. So go ahead and relax and breathe into the pose. Okay, let's slowly push yourself up. Do some windshield wipers with your knees. And when you're ready, we're going to come to the other side. So this side, of course, may be different, so just be mindful of your body in this side. Feel that left hip internally rotating. When you experience stressful thoughts, your sympathetic nervous system triggers the body's ancient fight or flight response, giving you a burst of energy to respond to the perceived danger. Your breathing becomes shallow and rapid, and you're primarily breathe from your chest and not the lower lungs. So this can make you feel short of breath, which is a common symptom when you feel anxious or frustrated. At the same time, your body produces a surge of hormones, such as cortisol and epinephrine, which can increase your blood pressure and pulse rate and put you in a revved up state of high alert. With deep breathing, you can reverse these symptoms instantly and create a sense of calm in your mind and body. When you breathe deeply and slowly, you activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which reverses the stress response in your body. Deep breathing stimulates the main nerve in the parasympathetic nervous system, the vagus nerve, slowing down your heart rate, lowering your blood pressure, and calming your mind and your body. Let's slowly push ourselves up. Make any movements that might feel good to you. Got some additional company on the beach. People always want to know what we're doing, so they like to come over. So we're going to come into a Sphinx pose next. So this is a nice back bend. So you bring your elbows underneath your shoulders. And if you would like more, this is a great pose to do with a wall behind you. You can go ahead and relax your shins against the wall. That's always good. You feel a little bit more of a stretch in the solar plexus. Or if you want to put a bolster under your chest, that feels good too. And if you really need to feel more, you can always spread your hands out a little wider and push up, straightening your arms. Just make sure you don't hunch up your shoulders. You want to keep your shoulders relaxed and feel the opening in the lower lumbar. With deep breathing, you engage the abdominal muscles and diaphragm instead of the muscles in the upper chest and neck. This conditioning of the respiratory muscles results in improved efficiency of oxygen exchange with every breath by allowing more air exchange to occur in the lower lungs. It also reduces strain on the muscles of the neck and upper chest, allowing these muscles to relax. In short, deep breathing is a more relaxing and efficient breathing technique, allowing higher volumes of oxygen to reach the body's cells and tissues, as well as reversing the physical stress response in the body. Deep breathing can help calm and slow down the emotional turbulence in the mind. Breathing can have an immediate effect on diffusing emotional energy, so there is less reactivity to our emotions. Okay, let's slowly bring ourselves flat on the ground, letting your back reset. And we'll take a few moments to do a few stretches here, maybe a child's pose, cat-cows, whatever your body needs. We want to be mindful in this practice. There's no need to rush, nowhere to go, nothing to do. We're going to come into a pose called banana, which is a very comfortable, relaxing pose for me. It's a great side body stretch. So we're going to come down flat on the mat, and then we'll bring our legs over to the right side. So go ahead and stretch as far as you can while keeping your hips flat on the floor. And then we'll do the same with your arms. So go ahead and reach those over to the right as far as you can without lifting your shoulders up off the floor. If you would like more of a stretch, you can bring your left ankle over your right ankle. So just breathe and feel the opening in the side body. Beyond the practice of simple deep breathing, the ancient yogis described different types of rhythmic, deep breathing techniques that can have differing effects on the mind and body. Many studies document the beneficial effects of yogic breathing in treating depression, PTSD, asthma. There are also theories that support the notion that by slowing down and controlling the breath, we can improve our longevity. The basis for all deep breathing practices originates in the science of yoga, specifically the branch of yoga known as pranayama. The word pranayama is derived from two Sanskrit words, prana, life force, and yama, control. By controlling the breath, you can influence every aspect of your life. You can train yourself to breathe in a way that has a positive influence on your health. Let's go ahead and stretch out your arms and legs. Stretch your spine. And then when you're ready, you can come to the other side. Breath of life. I breathe in all that is awareness, expanding, to take everything in, as if my heart beats the world into being. From the unnamed vastness beneath the mind, I breathe my way to wholeness and healing. Inhalation, exhalation, each breath a yes, and a letting go, a journey, and a coming home. Dana Falls. When you're ready, go ahead and straighten out your arms and legs. Stretch out. And then we're going to come into our most comfortable position for Shavasana. You may want to put a bolster underneath your knees, a blanket over you if you're a little cold. So whatever would make you most comfortable. This is your time. Bringing your awareness back into your body, start to deepen your breath. Start making small movements with your fingers, your toes, your arms, your legs. Then we'll go ahead and bring our knees into our chest. And let's roll over to the left side. And we'll use our arm as a pillow and take a few breaths there. And then very gently and mindfully push yourself slowly up to a seated position, keeping your eyes closed. Let's take a few moments here just to think about how you're feeling. Try to keep this feeling with you the rest of the day. Let's bring our hands to heart center. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste.